A last-minute massive return set for Raw on Netflix. Plus, we're also going to talk about some changes that Triple H has confirmed. And yes, we got some controversial stuff happening in New Japan and AEW. We got to talk about it all right here on The Ango Show. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Ango Show. I want to kick things off with Chris Charlton. If you guys don't know who this guy is, he's one of the commentators for New Japan Pro Wrestling. He's the reason why pro wrestling in America is so easy to understand when you're watching New Japan Pro Wrestling. He's part of the commentary team. He's a great commentator. He's a really, really good asset to New Japan Pro Wrestling. Now, there's a little bit of controversy, and this is the one that you're going to want to listen to, because he was making anti-AEW remarks at Wrestle Dynasty. And honestly, when I watched Wrestle Dynasty, I didn't take anything like, I thought this was just naturally part of being a commentator, right? He's talking anti-AEW, but at the same time, too, the buildup for Kenny Omega versus Gabe Kidd was essentially AEW versus New Japan Pro Wrestling. So, yeah, this is interesting. Dave Meltzer came out and reported that Chris Charlton is on an indefinite hiatus from New Japan Pro Wrestling because of his comments. Some of the comments that he made, he called Tony Khan a money mark during the match. Also, throughout the night, he questioned what Okada, Jay White, and Will Ospreay have done since leaving New Japan Pro Wrestling and going into AEW. He also really wasn't too kind to the Continental Classic in comparison to the G1 Climax. This is one of those things where I don't know if this was like Tony Khan going to New Japan Pro Wrestling and being like, hey, like, we don't approve of this. Like, this isn't good. I don't know if this is a New Japan decision where they said, look, like, you didn't represent us well, but I actually think this is ridiculously dumb. If I could be completely honest, I think this is dumb. He's a commentator. The storyline between Kenny and Gabe was essentially an AEW versus New Japan storyline. And Gabe Kidd has taken so many shots at AEW and Tony Khan in recent weeks to help build up the match, which, by the way, I think that was a really good thing that he did because it kind of made everything seem real. I didn't take this as a situation where Chris Charlton was actually taking shots at AEW. So I don't know if Tony Khan is upset. I don't know if Tony Khan was offended, but New Japan Pro Wrestling did put him on a indefinite hiatus. And I just think that's a really silly decision. I'm going to support Chris Charlton here 100% of the way. He did a great job as a commentator, and I think he did what his job is, which is important. So for whatever reason, he is taking a indefinite hiatus, and it's not his decision. We'll see what happens next. Okay, guys, just a quick reminder, we are going live immediately after Raw on Netflix. You're not going to want to miss it. Make sure you guys check it out. The link will also be in this description as well. But now it's time to talk about WWE changes. First things first, we got to talk about SmackDown. Okay, if you guys don't know, SmackDown is a 3-hour long show. However, that is not permanent. Triple H actually confirmed today on the Pat McAfee show that on SmackDown, it is 3 hours for now, but eventually it will go back down to 2 hours. And I don't know why WWE is doing this, essentially. I mean, I saw the 3-hour SmackDown. I personally enjoyed it. I think 3-hour Raws have always been solid. I never really cared about 3-hour long programming, but Triple H has done a really good job with 3-hour long programming. I felt like 2-hour SmackDowns really just, it was kind of hard to watch sometimes because it just didn't feel like it was as well paced as it should be. So now Triple H confirmed on the Pat McAfee show that it is going to be 3 hours, but it's not a permanent decision, and I don't like that. I think you are making it very tricky for your audience. Okay, we're going to be a 3-hour show. Hey, we might not be a 3-hour show. We don't know necessarily when it's going to change back to 2 hours. I think WWE should keep SmackDown at 3 hours. However, I think SmackDown's got to move from Friday nights. It's got to move away from Friday nights. And I'm going to say this forever. I've been saying this forever. I want Raw on Mondays, SmackDown on Tuesdays, and I want NXT on Wednesdays. A lot of people are going to say, hey, Wednesdays, Dynamite. I don't care. I'm going to watch NXT. That's just the way it's going to be for me personally. You're not expected to agree with me, but that's ideal for me. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That's what I would prefer. And then I would actually have AEW move Collision off Saturdays and put that on Thursdays. That's what I would do ideally as a wrestling fan. That's what I would prefer to see. I think for WWE doing 3-hour SmackDowns on Fridays, I like the idea of it being 3 hours. I don't like the idea of it being 3 hours on Friday. So I'm just going to put that out there. I think that's really important to mention. I think there's a lot of people who will disagree, and that's completely fine, but that's just the way I kind of see it. I also think for WWE, it's important that you're very consistent in how you promote your show. You don't want SmackDown to feel like a B show. Naturally, it's going to feel like that because it's not getting all the promotion and love that Raw on Netflix is getting. Now, because of that, I think if you move nights, it's actually really good for WWE because Mondays, Raw, you promote SmackDown for the next day. The crew and everybody could travel together. Perfect solution. That's the way I see it. And also, I just want to put this out there. Joe Tessitore will be doing commentary on SmackDown for those who were wondering. Okay, let's talk about it. The Undertaker is expected to be on WWE Raw on Netflix. This is a massive surprise that is being planned. And guys, PWInsider.com has come out and reported that The Undertaker is in LA ahead of Raw, has been scripted into tonight's show, and they were told that there was a motorcycle on hand for him to ride to the ring. So that looks like we're going to get American Badass Undertaker. I think this is great. I think this is awesome. I think this pretty much confirms that Stone Cold Steve Austin yet again is not coming to WWE programming, even though that was rumored that he might. Just like WrestleMania 40, we thought Stone Cold would be there. They couldn't come to an agreement with him, and therefore Undertaker is put in his spot instead. WWE is loading up the show with legends. They're loading up the show with familiar names, and it obviously makes sense because they're trying to get some of those lapsed fans who may not watch wrestling anymore, may not watch WWE anymore. They're trying to get them back into the company to watch. And so WWE is going to do this on Netflix. You're going to get your great matches. You're going to get your promos, but you're going to have segments where legends are coming back. And I don't want WWE to utilize these legends in a way that hurts the rising stars. In fact, if I were the WWE, there's one guy who has a little bit of history with The Undertaker back down in NXT, and that is Braun Breaker. So if you want to, have a big moment for Raw on Netflix, I would script Undertaker and Braun Breaker, and that's the way I would go about it. That's the way I look at it. That's the way I see it. I think that would be a massive win for WWE. But the surprises are going to keep coming. We have been talking about surprises, and just know that there's many more surprises that aren't being reported, and that's for good reason. So, guys, I'm excited about Raw on Netflix. I'm excited to go live. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below.
Turn it up, the Ango show, here we go. Rumor mill spin, every little sin. What's the new fallout? Who took a route out? Fans scream loud, make the show proud. Backstage drama, full of armor. Who's the charmer? Tag teams break dreams, plots